it's looking like the healthcare fiasco is also gumming up tax reform. You guessed it. And now the Treasury Secretary says the August deadline to get it done is, quote, not realistic at this point. Good stuff. Now, just last month, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said a tax reform bill would be on the president's desk by August. But Secretary Mnuchin tried to put a positive spin on the setback, telling London's Financial Times that the delay will allow Republicans to cut personal and corporate tax rates in the same legislation. But will the delay hurt the GOP? Let me bring in my sugar-coated party panel. Tonight, she's a contributor at The Hill and author of Government Gone Wild. It's Kristin Tate. One of my favorites, he's back in action, comedian Jimmy Failla, so pink and stripy, and Fox News analyst and my personal power animal, it's Andy Levy. Welcome back, everyone.
Hi.
Thanks.
So much to dive into. You are disappointed in Republicans over the health care debacle. It seems like tax reform is now on a rockier road than we originally thought. Who gets the blame here?
The Republicans. This is so disappointing because tax reform was one of Trump's main promises as a candidate. And they should, though, deal with health care reform before they get to tax reform. Obamacare is very expensive, but it's also like this monster with all of its tentacles in the tax code. So, you've got to take care of that, or else they're going to have less money to play around with when they shape tax policy, like lowering the corporate tax rate.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the highest corporate tax rate in the industrialized world, and I think there's consensus from business leaders across the board that we've got to lower these taxes. It hurts, these high taxes hurt business growth and the job market.
Absolutely, Jimmy. I mean, it is known that once you cut taxes, you increase government revenue because the economy just tends to blossom. Secretary Mnuchin says that August may be a little bit optimistic now. He was quite confident about it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But now tax reform by the end of summer.
Yeah, but you know why he doesn't think it's going to happen by August? Because he doesn't think there's going to be a world left in August. The only people left to collect taxes from are going to be Will Smith and his dog, because we're going to have an apocalypse like that movie, John whatever the heck.
Oh, yeah, remember that?
Yeah, that's what's going on right
That wasn't the concussion
I Am
one, right?
Legend?
Is that what it was? I Am
John
Legend?
something or other?
I Am Legend. I thought his name was John something.
Well, John
or other.
Legend.
Yeah.
Of course.
of
I mean,
course,
it was the
yeah.
biopic
Mashup movie.
of swarthy crooner John Legend.
This is now called First Quarter with Andy Levy. They moved the segment up in the show. They now correct you in the A block.
Okay, so Andy, taxes seemed so much easier.
Yeah, right.
Like a couple months ago, it was like taxes. We'll get to it because it's so easy.
Yeah,
You
look.
just went out of the park on the first try.
If you are surprised by this, I'm assuming you have someone who has to tie your shoes for you every morning when you get out of bed. I mean, just look, set aside the dysfunction and incompetence of this administration and Congress that we've seen so far. You could even look at their own words from not that long ago. Gary Cohn, the head of the National Economic Council, said, I don't know if it's August or not. He said that like 3 weeks ago. So already they were telegraphing that this wasn't going to happen in August. And so this is not in the least bit a surprise.
No, and even Paul Ryan last week was like, well, I mean, at the House, we totally have our taxes in order, and they don't in the Senate, and I don't know what's going on with the president. And it's like, what are you doing? Just throwing everyone under the bus?
Yeah.
Who survives and who flounders here?
I believe that when all is said and done, Sean Spicer will be the last man standing.
I think you're absolutely right. I think he is the tortoise here.
Yep.
And everyone is the hare here.
He's playing the long game.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah.
He gave
you know what they say, drive for show, putt for dough.
That is what they say.
Spicer's doing just that. New DNC Chairman Tom Perez joined Bernie Sanders at the first stop on the party's Come Together, Fight Back tour, which deserves a comma somewhere. The crowd in Maine came together and booed the new head of the DNC. Watch.
Maybe you came, though, because you're curious about the new DNC chairman and the future of the Democratic policy.
See, at first I thought they were cheering for Jeff Bookaboom. No, they were actually quite upset. Democrats love to say that opposition to Donald Trump is uniting the party, even after Hillary's crushing defeat. But is booing your new party chairman really a sign of unity? What does this say about the Bernie Sanders supporters in the room? Is there still a schism within the donkey party?
Absolutely. And for the last year, all of us have been talking about this civil war within the GOP. And yes, there are divisions in the Republican Party, but no one really wanted to talk about the massive divisions in the Democratic Party. The DNC treated Bernie Sanders horribly. I'm friends with a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters. They're not over it. The populist kind of socialist wing of the party wants nothing to do with the establishment wing. And, you know, now the DNC is paying for the way they treated Bernie Sanders. It really was unfair.
Yeah, and Bernie Sanders has gone from Larry David to Yoda. He's going to Iowa. He's getting all sorts of injections. And
He's on. This is it is. It's like, you know, after Jerry Garcia died, they had like the Further Festival. Like, he's still going forward with the band. He is the Bob Ware of Democratic politics. But we do have to hold him accountable to what Kristin said, which is that we're supposed to be the divided party. The event was called Come Together. And they booed the chairman.
Yeah.
Like, do you not get the insanity of that? That's like if we threw an intervention for Andy and showed up drunk. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're not supposed to do that? I mean, it's like the easiest way to sort of reconcile your resentment.
Lead by example.
Got to take the edge off. Come on, it's a tough day.
So, Andy, what does it say about the state of the Democratic Party?
Look, they have a big problem on their hands, but it's a really interesting problem in that they sort of have two different bases right now, and it's the Bernie bros, for lack of a better term. I don't use that in a bad way, and it's the Hillary bots. I do use that in a bad way.
Yeah.
And I've said on the show before, I will take the Bernie bros over the Hillary bots any day of the week. They're better on civil liberties. They're probably better on foreign policy.
Yeah.
And I agree. I thought the GOP had a similar problem. But it turns out that most people who call themselves Republicans and conservatives actually are totally fine with an authoritarian crackpot.
No, and this is the one thing I noticed.
I was wrong about that.
Well, you're never wrong about anything. Number one. Number two, when I was at the DNC this summer, a lot of people were saying there's no rift, everything is fine.
Yeah.
And Bernie Sanders supporters were holding up their no TPP signs, and they were furious because they were being completely cast aside.
Yeah. Nobody believed that there was no rift in the Democratic Party.
But President Trump is not enough of a unifying force, not only for the party, but for the country. So they better come up with some solid ideas if they want to reach people who were disenfranchised and who were only touched by the kind of populism that can only come from blustery New York firebrands. All right, the party panel return a little bit later, but first